Shalom Alechem. This is Reb Zusha Khaled of Breslov.org here in Beaufort, South Carolina. We're starting off this week's Torah portion with Vayishlach, and we're going to see what observations and what understandings Reb Nachman has to tell us. So we start out in 32th verse 4. Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau to the field of Edom in the land of Seir. And Rashi makes a comment that these messengers were real angels. So this is what he did. And because he kept all the 613 mitzvot, he was totally immersed in godliness, and he merited to have real angels do his bidding. Likutei Halachot 7, page 197a. This is an important point that we read in this Torah portion, is that if someone is into godliness, if someone is into observing the mitzvot, then he can actually send messengers, angels, malachim, to help him and to guide him along the path concerning dealing with other people and dealing with other situations. Now, it says here in verse 5, continuing, he instructed them, saying, "This is what you should say to my lord Esau. So says your servant Jacob, I stayed with Laban and have now delayed my return until now." So Esau represents the atheists who are wild beasts and lustful people. Laban represents atheists who are cunning and devious, the root of other atheists. Concealing divine favor, Jacob represents the one who tries to reveal divine favor. This is the point of Jacob, the point of Israel, the point of what you are supposed to be doing if you're into godliness. Somebody once asked me, are you spiritual? Are you into spirituality? And the answer I told him is absolutely not. I'm into godliness. And what does that mean? What's the difference? What's the nuance? Well, the difference in the nuance is that one comes from any kind of input or output based on one of life's experiences, not necessarily grounded in Torah. Godliness, on the other hand, means that you have Torah as your measuring stick, as your defining thought and book in your life, and everything in which you do springs forth from that. So, can you be spiritual and be filled with godliness? Absolutely. If you are godly, you are a spiritual person. And what we're trying to do here at Breslov.org is to show you that even if you are religious, or even if you are godly, you can enter into a level of spiritualism. You can turn what you're reading and what you're understanding, the mitzvot, and we can take them and turn them into spirituality, which is the first step on the ladder, the sulam, and the second step is to take the spirituality that you've learned and turn it into mysticism, which means that you now devkut, which means you now attach yourself to that creator, Rabbanu Shel Olam, the master of the universe, because of walking in godliness, observing the Torah and what the Torah tells us to do. It says here that Esau was jealous of Jacob for receiving the blessings from Isaac, since those blessings included bounty from the dew and the plentiful produce, all blessings of a natural order. Whenever it speaks of in the Torah, or when in rabbinical teaching or in our Kabbalistic teaching, whenever it says dew, that is specifically pointing to the dew of resurrection. That dew that can come into your life, that can cause new life, that can cause those things which are dead in you to come alive, or those things which you have pronounced death on, now to come alive and to produce everlasting life, to produce in you the true resurrection of the dead. Now, as an atheist, Esau preferred to believe in a natural order rather than in divine providence. We have a lot of people out there who believe that there's a natural order versus divine providence. Now, we do believe in nature and there is natural order, but the natural order is always subservient to divine providence. God divines that there is to be a providence in all things, and then there is a natural order which follows it, not vice versa. So, threatened by his brother, Jacob realized that in order to overcome Esau, he must overcome Esau's root, which is Laban. So when Jacob returned from Haran, he sent word to Esau, saying, I stayed with Laban, meaning I was able to subdue your source. Therefore I can defeat you too. When they finally met again, Esau conceded the blessings to Jacob, recognizing that if Jacob was able to subdue Laban and reveal divine favor, then Jacob truly deserved the blessings. You see, his teacher was Laban in terms of what he wanted to do to control other people. Because it says here, Rabbi Nachman tells us, Esau represents atheists who are wild beasts and lustful people, where Laban represents atheists who are cunning and devious. So we have two different kind of atheists, those that are wild beasts and lustful, and those that are cunning and devious. And Rabbi Nachman is going to go and to continue to talk about this in the next portion. Now, if we move to chapter 33, verse 9, I have a lot, Esau said. Keep what you have, brother. Yesh le Rav, I have a lot, may also be read as I have a Rav. That is to say, Esau is the leader of the other side, and he presents himself as a Torah authority. This same idea may be seen in the phrase Alfei b'nei Esav, the chieftains of the sons of Esau, Genesis 36:15, which the Targum renders as Rabbanai b'nei Esav, a phrase that connotes both multitudes and rabbis. In general, what that's saying is we must realize that there are some Torah scholars whose learning does not come from holiness, but from the other side. Esau was an evil person. His problems stem from Yesh le Rav, I have a Rav. That is, Esau chose an advisor who is good in his eyes, who parrots Esau's thoughts and desires rather than brings him closer to the truth. Likutei Halachot 7, page 174. Meaning, all he does is he listens to what Esau has to say, and the advisor tells him, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I see your point. That could be true. Instead of telling him the truth that Torah contains and correcting him as a true disciple. Because we're told in Pirkei Avos that we're to make many disciples. What kind of disciples? We're supposed to make disciples who are disciples of the truth. And even though they're your disciples, if you have them, and they are incorrect teaching, then you as their Rav have to correct them and bring them back to godliness, which is meaning you have to use Torah as the litmus, as the true test of what is godliness and what is not godliness. In chapter 33, verse 18, it tells us, Jacob came whole to the city of Shechem. Jacob represents the attribute of truth, as it states in the verse, give truth to Jacob, Micah 7:20. When a person reveals truth, he draws people to God to serve him with one accord, Zephaniah 3:9. The Hebrew word for accord is shachem. Thus, Jacob's truth leads to peace and accord. Likutei Moharan 1:27, verse 2. Remember, a true teacher will always bring you to peace and to accord, and will always bring you back to the Torah and to godliness. This is Reb Zusha from Beaufort, South Carolina with Breslov.org. Remember, it's all about love. It's all about Breslov.